Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and welcome to Lego Bros on Tour Part 1, California, where myself and my friend Johnathan, aka MiniSuperHeroesToday, went on an adventure to Legoland, California, to Disneyland, and got into all sorts of trouble and hijinks along the way. This is just the beginning because later this year we are going on a massive trip to Europe, going Lego shopping, exploring. It's gonna be a super fun time. So this is just the start, and let's dive into the vlog right now. So this is officially the start of what Johnathan and I like to call Lego Bros on Tour. This was kind of the first trip that we took together, and it's definitely not going to be the last one this year, so strap in because we have a ton of really fun Lego related vlogs coming. The reason why we were here was actually for Legoland, California. They had brought us out to experience the Master Model Builder Workshop, as well as celebrate the opening of Dino Valley, and I already put out some separate videos particularly on that experience because that Model Builder Workshop was probably one of the coolest Lego experiences ever, and I felt like it really deserved a video of its own, but this video is on pretty much everything else we actually got to do in California. So I got in bright and early and actually was advertised about Legoland, California and the new Dino Valley while picking up my luggage, which I thought was pretty funny, got our rental car and headed out to our hotel. First things first was, well, a little bit of a gift exchange between us, so let's take a look at that right now. All right, we got pretty much all of the DC collectible cards that look at that, I could find. These are, I believe, from 2019-ish. Wow. I got these in Europe, somewhere in Europe, but I was figuring that you would probably use them a lot more than I would because they're just kind of sitting in a drawer at home. So there's some really weird artwork here.
Also, it doesn't look like any doubles.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I saw it. Oh, maybe right there. But still, yeah. Two doubles out of all that, not bad.
I think one of them's in French and one of them's in English, so technically you get two different language versions.
Yeah, when it comes for the world record, that definitely counts as two different things.
Oh, 100%.
At least to me.
Yes, every single card is individual as a special item. We got that. We got some of your Indiana Jones keychains, which are mint. Thanks to my friends. Oh, no way. I mean, you can switch up.
Yeah, luckily that's pretty fixable. He broke his hand.
That's crazy that happened.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Found this in Legoland, Japan. They had a ton of them, way too many of them still.
Dang.
And then these sealed. I know you were looking for an extra set, but when you come to Seattle, there's a ton.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love it.
Of course, we were in California, so we had to stock up on some delicious Mexican food. But before we knew it, we decided to go used Lego shopping. So let's check those out right now.
All right, Duck and I go on vacation, we end up somewhere, and of course we're gonna end up at a Bricks and Minifigs.
Total coincidence. We were just driving by, of course. It's not that we came out here.
No, it's only like 50 minutes north of our hotel.
Yeah.
We just happened to be passing by.
Yeah. Let's go. So our first stop was Bricks and Minifigs San Diego, and obviously this was a really important one because not only is it one of the larger Bricks and Minifigs, but since it was located in San Diego, they probably had one of the craziest selections of Comic-Con exclusive items I've ever seen in a Bricks and Minifigs. From the individual minifigures to exclusive sets, they had a ton of really cool stuff, and we'll take a closer look later on. But first, let's take a look at something that interested me even a little bit more. I've never seen this in the box. Oh my god. I didn't know the box was like that.
Whoa.
Dude, look at that. Oh my god. Oh jeez. No way. Is this sealed? Oh, no way. Oh my god.
We're gonna need bigger luggage.
Yeah.
Those all recently just came in from same guy, one guy who
Really?
had just been moving them around for years and decided he was done moving them. It also
We are both in sensory overload mode. This is insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh my goodness, we are here at the Bionicle section of Bricks and Minifigs right now. They said these just came in, but this is a sealed Nuparu Mari. I have never seen a sealed one other than in that one shop in Singapore. Longtime Duck Bricks viewers know what I'm talking about. But we've got some of the masters here from G2. Oh man, the prices are high, but they are unfortunately pretty much the price for sealed that you're looking at for these figures. And the coolest one for me in particular is this, because I've never seen this in the box before. This is Mutron and Vikan. Look at that box, that is so cool. Of course, it wasn't all just Bionicle and Comic-Con sets. They had a pretty crazy selection of vintage sealed Lego items as well. I've literally never seen that vintage old Lego Batman Batcave before, and it was just so cool wandering around here and seeing all sorts of really crazy items.
To the front, but inside it's
Oh my
Entire
gosh.
section. I'm losing my mind.
This is insane. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Holy moly.
Brickheads.
I just can't believe you like come to a used Lego store and there's just Comic-Con sets sitting out. Like
It's on the shelf too. It's not nothing special.
insane.
It's just sitting there. Jonathan and I had an absolute blast exploring San Diego bricks and minifigs and trying to figure out which sets we were gonna get. But of course, it soon became time to try and figure out, what was I taking home? Now, just to caveat this a little bit, I am not a box guy. I do not collect Lego boxes. I in fact throw out almost every single box that I get. I know for some folks that's heresy, but for me, I strongly believe that Lego was meant to be opened and played with. So I will literally open anything, especially if it's kind of a one-of-a-kind special thing that not a lot of people in the world are going to open up, because I want to actually have the item to play with. But that then begged a peculiar question. You see, I haven't really collected many of the Comic-Con exclusive sets, especially the ones that don't include exclusive figures, because, well, I can just put the pieces together, the instructions are online, the parts lists are online, and it usually is a lot cheaper just to do that. On the other hand, the boxes are pretty beautiful, and if there ever was a time to start a Comic-Con box collection, well, it was now, because they had some really great sets there at pretty good prices, I will say. And so, of course, for me, it came down to a hard choice. Do I actually start collecting the Comic-Con boxed sets? Because I knew, if I started, I will now have to get them all. Or do I continue my collection? I do own some of them loose. I just bought all the bricks and the minifigs made to make that set. Do I just leave it at that and call it good? Well, I mean, a little bit of a spoiler alert for the end of the video, but you're about to find out which decision I made in my haul coming up at the final part of the video. But between that, let's just take a look at the store and enjoy all the different items they had for sale. This was one of my favorite items here. It was a limited edition Lego San Diego Comic-Con exclusive all the way back in the early days of Lego Batman promoting the game, and of course, the ones that I personally had my eye on were these really cute micro-scale Hobbit bag and boxes. This is just such an interesting box design, as well as the Age of Ultron Throne of Ultron set, because again, those boxes are unlike any other ones that Lego produces. They are really interestingly shaped, and they're just immaculately made. I really was tempted to pick these up, and you can see the duck bricks in duck decision making mode right here, trying to figure out if I wanted to pull the trigger. Of course, there were a lot of other items as well, but we'll take a look at the haul at the very end of the video. Before then, it soon was time to check out our next location on the list. Now, mind you, I was in the middle of taking work meetings, I was going in and out of calls at Bricks and Minifigs, and special thanks to Johnathan for sharing all his footage with me because I really was multitasking here. It may have been a weekend, but I was still working on stuff like my startups, so it was a pretty crazy and hectic day, but we made it work, and soon enough, it was time to blast off to the next location.
Well, they don't make Bricks and Minifigs visits more productive than that. You had the haul of a lifetime, Chris.
I cannot wait to showcase this.
Yeah, my jaw is on the floor, man. I couldn't be happier for you.
Do you have these sets, the boxed ones?
I have everything you bought except for the non-superhero one.
Nice.
I don't want to spoil it. We got to save it for your haul.
All right. Save it for the haul.
So now you guys can start guessing what he bought.
Yes.
All right, we're making great time. Had to stop by Brickmania, check out what they got, so let's see.
Now, if you don't know what Brickmania is, it's actually a really interesting spin-off LEGO store that focuses on realistic military LEGO models. It's not something that LEGO themselves would really ever cover, so it's really interesting seeing a completely third-party company come in and fill the niche. They're all using official LEGO pieces, but they're just kind of creating their own models, and I think my favorite thing to see here was the gigantic warship, as well as some military-themed X-Wings flying alongside it, because of course, why not? They even had a gigantic deployment zone for an ATTE, so this was kind of like a military and Star Wars mashup, which I thought was super cool. And it was really interesting seeing just what kinds of kits they had on display. To be completely honest, for me personally, realistic military is not really my thing. It's not what really gets me excited, so there wasn't really anything for me to pick up here, but for the folks who are really into it, Brickmania is a pretty good solution because of LEGO's really strict policies on not depicting modern warfare. What I did find really funny and interesting though, is they did have a little mini used LEGO store selection area in the back of the store itself, and amongst all of the military tanks and models, there were some LEGO Hero Factory sets because obviously, LEGO Hero Factory villains are the true military grade weapons that we unleash upon our enemies. I mean, I certainly would be very afraid if I saw Von Nebula charging towards me on the battlefield, so I just found that really funny, how literally the only like non-military stuff they had were just some used Hero Factory sets, as well as I guess a couple of Star Wars things here and there and some other used stuff, but really aside from licensed stuff, it just was the Hero Factory guys, so that was quite funny, but otherwise, it was really cool stepping into a LEGO store of sorts that was dedicated towards a very different kind of LEGO building. Not really my personal thing, but still very cool. But then, we decided to head off to the next destination because we were determined to make the most out of our shopping visit. So after a long drive, we made our way to the next store.
Chris is taking a work call, so I'm doing another Bricks and Minifigs solo. Sometimes Batman doesn't have Robin with him. Speaking of Batman.
Whoa, I'm just watching this footage back now. I think what he means to say is sometimes Batman has to go on missions without Superman, because Superman's too busy being Superman, you know? That's how I would phrase it. That's just how I'd put it. Maybe some other people might phrase it differently, but that's how I'd say it. But of course, our next destination was yet another Bricks and Minifigs, and this one was another really fantastic one. We got to see a full selection of individual characters. They did have more Comic-Con stuff, and yes, I did pick up some of them. And it was awesome because this was Bricks and Minifigs Carlsbad. Legoland, California is located in Carlsbad, so this was the closest one to Legoland, but we both knew that the moment that we made our way over to Legoland, we probably wouldn't have any time to visit Bricks and Minifigs, so we just had to pay them a visit and check it out because, you know, if we weren't going to go now, we probably weren't going to go for the rest of the trip. This was actually a really great location because they were super friendly and accommodating. Shout out to the folks at Bricks and Minifigs Carlsbad who let me rifle through this massive trash bag full of Bionicle pieces. You bet I took home a ton of individual parts. Feel like I got like most of the G2 wave just right there from Bionicle. It was all in the bag, so that was so cool. And of course, I had to run in once my work call was over, jump on in, say hi to everybody, and they actually let the store stay open a lot longer past the original store closing time to allow us to take videos and really explore the space, which I'm really grateful for. Again, another big shopping highlight of the trip. But before we knew it, it was then time to call it a night because we had so much more to go ahead of us.
Well, we were in there so late that the sun set, but the haul was amazing. The staff was awesome. Yeah. What a great store. Now it's time to call it a night, and oh my gosh, do we have a crazy adventure for tomorrow. So here we go.
We then had a delicious dinner, and it was then that I proposed a pretty interesting idea to Johnathan. I was like, hey look, you know what? We got a free-ish day tomorrow in California. Just throwing it out there, you know? What if we went to Disneyland? And Johnathan is actually, I don't believe it's either he hasn't been or he hasn't been in years to Disneyland, California. So after making a couple hour pit stop to charge up our rental car EV, more on that later, I'll let Johnathan tell you in his words about going to Disneyland.
So last night over dinner we're talking and we're like, why the heck not? Let's go to Disneyland. So that's where we're at today. Gonna do the Disneyland adventure and see what's up. So I personally have not been here in years. I've never seen the Marvel area, but I'm about to. Let's get it.
Oh my god. Holy crap.
So in case it wasn't obvious by his YouTube and Insta and TikTok name, MiniSuperHeroesToday, Johnathan is about as into Marvel and superheroes as he is into Lego. There are 3, maybe 4 things that make up his interests and his life, really. It's superheroes, Lego, music, and Indiana Jones, and we're getting to pretty much all of those on this trip. So for me, personally, as his friend, it was just really cool getting a chance to kind of live vicariously through his eyes. I'm a lot closer to Disneyland, California, so for me, I've been here quite a few times with a lot of different friends, and I just really love the land, but what was really even more fun for me was getting a chance to see Johnathan witness everything for the first time as a Marvel superfan. He is the biggest fan of Ant-Man, and he actually does cosplay as Ant-Man at conventions with different adventures, so getting a chance for him to meet the Disneyland Ant-Man and the Wasp and talk to them about his missions and what he does was super surreal and very cool to see them actually interact, and of course, we had to make time for a ton of photo shoots as well. We actually got a chance to eat at Hank Pym's Test Kitchen, which was a really fun restaurant that kind of had a unique way of presenting different types of food. Keeping with the Ant-Man theme, they had gigantic pretzels, tiny burgers, huge meat patties but tiny buns. The whole concept was different types of food shrinking and growing, and I thought that was really funny and a very unique concept for an Ant-Man restaurant, which I honestly would not have even thought of doing an Ant-Man restaurant, but after going into it, I was like, yeah, that's probably the best Marvel-themed restaurant they could have done, because the actual food you eat is completely unique. Of course, we had to check out the gift store. I am super tempted to get that TVA rod. I didn't pick it up this time, but you know, I'm tempted. I do have the Captain America shield. I've got both gauntlets at home already, but this time they actually had a whole collecting thing. It was quite devious, where you had to buy each of the individual Infinity Stones to place them in the gauntlet. And the only way to get the stones was to buy the actual origin of the artifact. So you had to get the scepter, the cosmic cube, the Eye of Agamotto, and so on and so forth. Honestly, genius marketing by Disney here, but you know, that cost was a little too much for me, and I had a different collecting focus at Disneyland, which we're going to take a look at in a little bit. Of course, we had the Harbulary batteries, nice Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 reference here, and the entire restaurant that we went to of Hank Pym's Test Kitchen was so cool, and from our seats, we could actually see a battle between Black Widow, Black Panther, and Taskmaster, which was actually a really cool battle because obviously those characters never interacted in the movies and never will again, so it was cool seeing Disneyland come up with a little way to tie the universe together in their own special stunt performance. But moving on from Avengers Campus, after we got a chance to ride the Spider-Man ride, which was a ton of fun, we still had the rest of the park to explore.
All right, we're here at the Pym Test Kitchen, where all the food is the wrong size. So it's like a giant chicken sandwich, mini...
Well, there's mini pasta in this, but then you've also got the giant ones.
And you got the
So
Pym
good.
panini. Let's eat.
This is a bit of a tangent, but I am fascinated by how property rights work in theme parks. Like, Universal has the Spider-Man and most Marvel character rights in Florida theme parks, but not in California. So Marvel is allowed to do a Spider-Man ride in California, but not in Florida. However, they do have the rights for Guardians of the Galaxy in Florida, which is why many of the rides in Florida about Marvel are Guardians themed. It is just really interesting and one of the strangest kind of pieces of weird theme park rights history there is, but in any sense, because of that, the Spider-Man ride is currently in the US exclusive to Avengers Campus here in Disneyland, so it was super cool getting a chance to experience it. The technology was actually really cool. It's kind of like a better version of the Lego Ninjago ride at Legoland, where you literally use your hands to fling it out and shoot. And of course, we also had to go on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, the Reskin Tower of Terror, which was very funny because Johnathan had absolutely no idea what I was getting us into when we boarded the ride. He's not a big roller coaster guy, but I convinced him to do this one, and I think he had a ton of fun. So that was really an absolute blast. Of course, we had to go out and explore Pixar Pier. Sadly, all 4 times I tried to ride the Incredicoaster, it broke down right before riding it. However, by the 5th time, I did manage to get on. I may have been on a startup call at the same time, but that did not stop me from riding.
All right, so we wrapped up the morning at California Adventure. Now it's time to head to Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
Check out everything on that side. We've got some ride reservations ready to go. It is gonna be rocking. We have arrived.
We have arrived. I don't know how this happened, but somehow we made it to Disney.
Yep, totally unplanned. It just happens sometimes.
That's how it works.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Oh yeah, no. Come on, what are we doing here?
You like stub your toe and you're like, look, oh my gosh, I'm in Disneyland.
Let's go. Of course, given that Johnathan is maybe even more of an Indiana Jones fan than a superheroes fan, the first thing we had to do was go on the Indiana Jones adventure and also take a look at the sweet merch shop that they had as well. I really want that crystal skull.
So we have a ride reservation for Indiana Jones, but had to stop in and look at the merch. First up, they have all of the movie props, something from all 4 original movies. Yes, even that one. Love the crystal skull. That is so cool. It actually lights up too, which is awesome. Personally, myself, I've got my eye on the Staff of Ra headpiece and the Sankara stone. That looks cool. I've got my eye on the bag. It's pretty accurate to what Indy used in the movie. You can actually source like old World War II surplus stuff, but this is pretty close and it does look pretty good. So I got my eye on that. Got magnets over here, which are cool. It's just amazing to be anywhere that they have a ton of Indiana Jones stuff. Then over here, this one has all kinds of merch. Pretty accurate shirt. I don't think the buttons are quite right, but this is cool. Like a printed tee with the Indie Adventure shirt on
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. Puzzles, coasters. The jacket's pretty nice.
How many hats do you have at home?
I have 2. This one isn't super accurate, but for posterity. There you go. Very cool. Yeah. Looks like that's about it for Indy, but again, it is 2024, so it's amazing you can go anywhere and find anything, so love it. I want some props.
For me, as a lifelong Star Wars fan, I could not wait to see Jonathan's reaction to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge because he had actually never been before. So let's see what he had to think right now.
So having not been here in about 4 years, I've never been or seen the Star Wars land, so believe me when I tell you, my mind is being blown right now. And Chris says this isn't even the best of it yet.
Oh, just you wait, man.
Here we go.
Our first stop was Rise of the Resistance, and yes, unfortunately, we did have to pay money to actually ride the ride. Disney has this thing where unless you want to wait in a queue for upwards of 2 to 3 hours, you can choose to pay a ton of money just to ride the ride on top of what you already paid to get in there, which I think is a little anti-consumer, but you know, we were pretty desperate and wanted to maximize time, so sometimes you have to take one for the team. This was probably my 10th or maybe 15th time riding Rise of the Resistance, but my favorite thing about riding this ride is honestly not the ride itself, but it's seeing the reactions of my friends who have never ridden it before. It is one of the coolest rides I've ever been on, utilizing trackless coaster technology, and it has all sorts of crazy animatronics. They've got all sorts of stormtroopers on display. You go inside a ship and it transports you into a Star Destroyer. It's easily one of the most technologically advanced rides ever, and really an achievement for Disneyland to be able to pull off something like this. So just seeing the look on Jonathan's face as we were walking through the queue line, not even on the ride yet, was so worth it. And makes me want to keep coming back and doing this ride with my friends. I probably wouldn't do it again if I was in a group of people who already did it, but for me, seeing the expression on people's faces as they witness this ride for the first time is literally priceless, and that is the best part of something like this. And thankfully, the Kylo Ren animatronic was actually working this time.
Okay, Rise of the Resistance was absolutely crazy. This guy has been hyping it up all day, and it absolutely lived up
I
to
told
said
you,
hype.
I will go on it as many times with different people as possible just to see their reaction coming out of it.
It was insane. All right, so we're at my favorite ride at the park, Indiana Jones, of course.
Big surprise.
And Chris booked Lightning Lane, so we get to skip.
Really appreciate it.
Fans of you.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you. It's always super cool to meet fans and run into people who recognize us either from YouTube or me from LEGO Masters. I think my favorite time, it actually was at this park. Johnathan was mistaken for Robert, my teammate at LEGO Masters, and if you've seen Robert, you might be wondering how on earth that happened. But you know, we kind of just went with it. We didn't have the heart to tell them that he wasn't the guy they were saying he was. But overall, this was such a fun experience, and the next stop had to be the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland.
All right, now we're walking out of Indiana Jones. Probably my favorite ride, no bias.
Easily my second favorite ride, but it's really close.
Yeah, it was great. You just gotta be here to ride it though, folks.
Of course, next up after Indy was Pirates of the Caribbean. This was a crazy Disneyland day, and I intended to absolutely maximize the amount of rides that we got a chance to ride. Hey look, it's Duck Bricks up there. Close enough. Inside, of course, is one of the most classic Pirates rides that Disney has, and while there may be some more advanced versions of the ride in other parts of the world, like Disneyland China, it was still cool to ride basically the OG and experience it, because I don't think Johnathan had maybe either ever experienced this ride, or at the very least, he hadn't ridden it in a very long time, so seeing him get a chance to see this ride and have a ton of fun, seeing all the sights and the animatronics, still having kind of this timeless charm to them, was an absolute blast. But soon enough, it was time to move on over back to Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars Land, where I actually had to do a little bit of shopping myself. While I may personally have a lot of thoughts on how I think Galaxy's Edge could really be improved as a theme park, and Disney really needs to up their game to compete against giants like Universal, who are honestly doing more themed and immersive lands better than Disney is nowadays, it still has such a charm and magic to it. I love Star Wars, so pretty much any Star Wars land I'm going to be pretty happy with, and for me the best part is going around and exploring all the different shops and the vendors. I collect literally every single Galaxy's Edge lightsaber, so I was able to get the brand new one for Kanan Jarrus, which was super cool because I also love Star Wars Rebels, and soon enough we were face to face with Hondo Onaka of Onaka Transport Solutions, ready to transport some precious cargo for the Resistance and make Hondo money. Of course, this was the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Millennium Falcon ride, which is always a ton of fun. I always think it's a lot more fun when you're actually in the pilot seat, so that's exactly what we did. We strapped in as pilots of the Millennium Falcon and blast off into hyperspace to retrieve some precious coaxium fuel for the Resistance. Since Johnathan is basically the biggest fan of like Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford that I know, seeing him in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, getting to pull the lever that actually transports you into lightspeed was super cool. We both had an absolute blast, and this still remains one of my personal favorite rides in the park just because of how interactive it is. It reminds me of some of the rides that you can even do in parks like Legoland, where you're actually part of the ride, you're driving the motion of it, and your performance on the ride directly impacts how you do on the mission. So it was actually really cool just being able to do the ride and fly the Falcon.
Okay, we just did the Millennium Falcon ride. Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Dude, we killed it.
Yeah, we were both the pilots up front, got both containers.
Hit the brakes on time.
Yep.
Had the asteroid mini game at the end because we finished early.
If you've never been on the ride, none of this makes
no
sense.
idea what we're talking about.
But if you have been on the ride, you could give us a virtual high five right now.
I had to stop for a drink at Oga's Cantina, which is basically like a real-life Star Wars cantina that you can actually visit. Super cool. Think it could have benefited from maybe some performers in alien costumes, but you know, it was still very cool to actually witness the bar itself, and the drinks are honestly pretty good. It was also really cool to hear some of my favorite songs from the Galaxy's Edge playlist actually being played there, which was quite nice. And of course, the drink dispensers are IG-88 heads, which are very cool to see. The drinks were great, and honestly, if you haven't been, I would highly recommend it. The music was actually popping as well, and it was really fun to hear such bangers like Bai Titi, Alugahu, Ula Shuka, Doshka, Batu Boogie, Utini, Gulabuki, Namahe, Muli Ra, Turbulence, Yokola Atima, Una Dui D, Beep Boop Bop, Droid World, Bright Suns, Mad About Me, Hutuk Chica, and my personal favorite, Modal Notes. Probably worth a Google. After Galaxy's Edge, we got a chance to move on to the rest of Disney and see what else the park had to offer. Because in my nature I'm a very competitive person and I do love to win, I challenged Johnathan to a shootout game of Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, the infamous original classic Disney Parks ride which allows you to traverse through the world of Toy Story and shoot targets at little aliens. Of course I absolutely crushed and there really was no competition at all, so let's just see a few clips of that.
Check the status board to determine your rank.
Oh baby, I still got it. 132,000. After that, we got a chance to check out the other Star Wars ride in the park, which was, of course, the classic, very first Star Wars ride that really ever existed, and that is, of course, Star Tours. If you don't know how Star Tours works, a random person from the audience is chosen to be the spy, and after they get called out by whoever's hunting them down, you go through a variety of different experiences and screens based around Star Wars media. Personally, I was hoping for an Andor focus segment. I really was wanting Diego Luna to jump out of the screen at me, but seeing segments from The Phantom Menace were about as good. You know, it wasn't quite his classic charm, but I did get to see some of those underwater creatures, so I got to relive my childhood. And best of all, Johnathan was the spy.
After a lifetime of riding Star Tours, I finally was picked as the passenger. Let's go!
Chris can't wait till he gets home, so he's got to whip out the lightsaber here.
Moment of truth.
What'd you get? Oh, yeah. That looks awesome.
Truth.
Oh, man. Amazing.
Before we knew it, our time at the park had come to an end. But on our way out, we had to head to the one destination to make this entire side journey relevant to a LEGO-themed video on the Duckbricks channel, and that was, of course, the LEGO store. Yes, the LEGO store at Downtown Disney is one of the greatest LEGO stores ever, featuring a ton of gigantic Disney-themed creations, and we could not wait to check it out.
All right, we got to end the night at the LEGO store, and it's going to be great.
Let's go! Getting this all back on track, we are of course still a LEGO-themed video on a LEGO-themed channel, so of course we had to cover the LEGO store. I have a lot of favorite childhood memories of going to the store actually. It's the place where I got one of my first LEGO sets ever, the motorized blue Spybotic set, although of course when I was 2 years old in 2002 I had no idea what LEGO was and wouldn't really properly get into LEGO until much later. Still, this was a ton of fun to explore. Of course they had a custom minifigure factory where you could just make your own minifigures and customize the way the printing was done, and we had to get a couple of those for ourselves and get them actually Anaheim themed, which was pretty cool. They had actual location based items, and walk around the store and see all the different types of things they had to showcase. It was a ton of fun and definitely one of my favorite LEGO stores ever.
All right, finishing out the day here at Black Tap. Got to do the burger life. I got the truffle burger. Looks absolutely amazing. What'd you get, Chris?
I got the Wagyu burger, of course. Not that I've had enough Wagyu already, just coming back from Japan, but I just had to.
Well, that's it. So we're going to eat, round it out, and then it's time for the haul. So let's get it.
We realized that we actually had a little bit of time to sneak back into Disneyland, catch a couple of rides right before closing, like literally 30 minutes before they closed. So, of course, we had to maximize the day and basically close out the park, as usual. But do you remember when I said that we would have some fun issues with our electric vehicle? Well, that was about to come back and bite us. Hello, my friends. Hello, and welcome to Electric Vehicle Nightmare Hell. We have been stuck charging this vehicle for I don't even know how long at this point, but for whatever reason, the number of miles it says are available on this vehicle is not commensurate with the number of miles we actually travel. If this abomination of a machine says that we have 100 miles in the tank left to go, we can drive tops 20. Oh, I've done the math on this. Something is not right with the battery. But at this point, it's a rental car, and like, Either I'm going to the airport and getting another one, which isn't going to happen, or we soldier it through. So, here's the plan. It's now past midnight. It's almost 1 a.m. And this here machine is claiming that in 3 minutes, we will jump miraculously from 76% charged to 100. Now, folks in the chat, do we believe this? The answer is no, because we've been here. We got here when we were at like 18%. We've been here for like an hour and a half, maybe like an hour and 10 minutes. Hey, look, my boy's here.
And I have an exciting update from the inside of the car.
God, no.
We are up to 77%. It is unthinkable to think that we're going to get to 100 in the next, 120 seconds? But anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
I am counting on that 3 minutes remaining, and no matter what, we are getting the heck out of Dodge in 3 minutes. No matter what.
It's going to be a photo finish. It's going to be absolutely crazy. It's like almost 1 in the morning. We're like still 40 minutes to get back to our hotel.
Dude, if that, I don't even know at this point.
It's going to be crazy. It is going to be crazy. We are definitely in the running for the Lego Vlog Award of the Year.
Yeah, 100%.
Crazy. I mean, we've been gunning since like 8 a.m.
Dude, so, I've been gunning since like 48 hours ago.
Yeah. Crazy. Isn't that how the Ramones song go? 48 hours ago.
You would know better than me. I've lost it at this point.
That's not how it goes. We're just getting delusional. 2 minutes, folks.
All right, folks. Are we going to get to 100 in 2 minutes?
Wait. I think I just figured something out.
What?
You and I were just having the conversation in the car. I brought up that 80% is considered like a good full charge.
Oh!
I bet that it's just to get you to 80%, and anything above 80 is considered a win.
That's actually it.
Because here we go. We're about to hit 80 at the 1 minute mark.
All right, dude,
folks.
at 80, I'm a head out.
That's it, man. Dick Clark's about to ring in the new year here in 1 minute.
Oh, yo! No way it's showing us an ad.
That's it.
Dude,
oh my gosh.
I'm out of, what is this dystopian nightmare? Get me out of here.
This is why you pay for YouTube Premium, folks.
Yeah.
Get the ads.
This is the future.
All right, we're gonna see. Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. 1 minute just to get us to 80%.
If we're waiting, you're waiting too. You are waiting with us as we get this to 80%. The moment this reaches 80, this segment of the video ends. But you get to suffer. Yep. Well, after that very fun experience, we ended up getting basically no sleep, but you know what? Time waits for no one, because the next morning, we got up bright and early to head to Legoland, California, in Carlsbad, California. It had been literally years since I last had been to Legoland, and I was super excited because they actually were able to show us around the park. We were promised a bit of a private tour, some exclusive stuff, and we had literally no idea what we were about to experience. So let me just paint a picture here. If you checked out my video on the insane Master Model Builder workshop at Legoland, you probably have a little bit of an inkling as to what we were actually going to be doing at Legoland. But we had no idea. So we went to Legoland, enjoyed some food, Pizza Mania, and basically just killed time until we were ready to meet up with our social media host, Lisa. Shout out to Lisa, you're very amazing. Thank you so much for such an incredible day. But, you know, we had some time to explore the park beforehand.
Okay, so we barely got into the park, and we're both starving. So we went for the food. What'd you get, Chris? What'd you go with?
Pepperoni pizza, first thing I saw.
That sounds good to me. That's what I got too. And of course, had to get the souvenir cup. I'll never emotionally recover that Rex Dangervest isn't on it, but I guess I see him in the mirror every day, so what's the difference? Miniland,
of course, is a perennial favorite amongst Legoland park goers, so while I had to step aside and take a couple of hours worth of calls, both in the car and just kind of while walking around Legoland, thank goodness a lot of the job that I can do is remote, Johnathan got a chance to actually explore Miniland and take photos and videos of all the vehicles. Going through the footage now, I actually really like a lot of what I'm seeing, especially those USPS and UPS mail delivery trucks. Those are just done so well. Also love seeing these little marching soldiers, and as I would later learn at Legoland New York, the way the marching is done is little magnets are embedded in the feet, and as they pass over the magnets, the legs actually move. You learn something new every day. Overall, Legoland California has one of the oldest mini-lands in the US because obviously it was the very first Legoland to open here in the US, followed by Florida and then New York much later, so it was really cool seeing a mix of old and new buildings, but all sorts of brand new mechanics being integrated in. Of course, we had to peek inside the Master Model Builder Workshop too because that was where we were going to end up later in the day, and I don't think anyone could have prepared me for what insane experience we were about to see. Obviously, that was all already covered in the Master Model Builder Workshop video, and this video is basically on the entire rest of the trip, so do go check out that video if you do want to see our full experience, but long story short, we were treated to an absolute smorgasbord of pieces, and had the chance to build something and even take it home, which was absolutely crazy. Again, if you want to see that entire crazy video tour, you can go check that out, and I'll be sure to link it in the description below. Commenters, please remind me if I forget to do this, but it should be in the description by the time you're hearing this, hopefully. And I figure the best thing to check out now is, well, our reaction right as we were stepping out of the model shop tour. Because once my work calls wrapped for the day and Johnathan got a chance to explore Miniland to his heart's content, we met up with Lisa, our host over at Legoland California, and she brought us in to the first ever private tour of the Master Model Builder Workshop for influencers, and well, let's just see our reaction coming out of that, because that was crazy.
Okay, so we just spent the last 2 hours in the model shop, and the video is going to be on Chris's channel, but basically they let us do a challenge and build with every Lego element they had in there. Chris, what do you think, man?
Dude, I don't even know, man. I genuinely am speechless right now.
Yeah. Now, when you're watching this video, you're not going to have the full context of what we just got to do, so you have to watch Chris's video, but it is so beyond comprehension. We had literally every Lego element you could imagine, and then some.
And especially and then some.
Yeah, there were parts that are not like in production that we were able to build with for this challenge that they made for us. And again, you just have to see Chris's video. It's gonna be bonkers. But that being said, just spent 2 hours there. It is time to get back to the park and check out the rest of Legoland California, so let's get it.
Heading back in the park, there was one other experience I was absolutely dying to see. You see, it has been literally years since I've been to Legoland California, so it was celebrating their 25th anniversary. We got to see all sorts of cool stuff, even met some people with a Bionicle badge. That's awesome to see folks who are Bionicle fans still running around, and I even met Kai from Ninjago. But the one experience I could not wait to do was the Lego Movie Experience. Now, what exactly is the Lego Movie Experience? Well, it basically is a recreation of the set for Lord Business's basement, aka Will Ferrell's man cave, and inside they had essentially what was the set of the Lego Movie 2. The Apocalypseburg, and with the post-apocalyptic wasteland. They had the Sistar system with the Sisters room in one corridor, and a ton of vintage and unique Lego Easter eggs abound. And that was easily one of the coolest things that I would ever see at a Legoland park. This entire basement set was insane. I like to play a little game that I like to call Spot the Cancelled Set and Prototype Piece because there were some pretty insane elements here. Not only was it the actual inspiration for Apocalypseburg from the movie actually recreated here, but every single piece of Easter eggs and references to the Lego movie was featured, including a giant buildable Life on Mars alien. I would do anything to own that alien. Anything. A whole Lego Wild West type build. They even had a Lego Oscar, which is really cool because one of my friends is currently trying to go for an Oscar right now with her directorial debut. That's another story. But anyways, we got to see a gigantic built-up version of the Welcome to Apocalypseburg set. We saw all sorts of crazy post-apocalyptic minifigures fully kitted out, and these were literally the figures that they used to actually map out the movie, and a giant wall full of Lego movie characters, as well as tons of physical models of stuff that we saw in the movie but never actually made it into official Lego sets, which was pretty crazy to see. They even, of course, had a LEGO space section with, for whatever reason, the Ninjago ultrasonic radar there too. You know, it's kind of high-techy in some sort of a way, and the amount of references to older LEGO themes was so cool. They even had the little time travel bit that they used from the LEGO Movie 2 in the form of all these different types of references to time travel franchises, where Rex was time traveling, spoiler alert for the LEGO Movie 2, showcased on the windowsill there just like it appeared in the actual movie. This was one of the best displays I've seen for LEGO because not only was it a really cool apocalyptic layout as well as different genres for Wild West and space, but it also was literally what the LEGO movie set looked like. Like, this was Lord Business's room, and let me just say, I am very jealous of Will Ferrell's LEGO organization system. I really wish I had this much level of detail and clarity for my own personal organizational system myself. One strange thing, and one small mistake I did notice, is they did mention you can find the quote-unquote San Diego Comic-Con Green Lantern minifigure, but if you zoom in on the figure, I'm not convinced that that's the actual one. Actually, I say I'm not convinced it's not the actual one, which means that maybe somebody might have nabbed that super expensive minifigure and replaced it with a different one. But the craziest thing for me to see here was the Sistar system, because this was actually home to a ton of canceled sets. We saw them appear in the movies and the video games, but this was a canceled set for Rex actually, which would have featured a completely different color of dinosaur, and lo and behold, that gunmetal gray raptor mold was literally just laying there right on the floor. All of these different builds were created for the movie. Look at the torso print on that guy, that never came out. The torso print on that girl. These were all pieces made for the LEGO Movie 2, but obviously since the sets didn't sell that well, they drastically cut back on the types of sets they made for the LEGO Movie 2, and as such, many of them didn't even come out. But to see those canceled sets just kind of sitting there on the floor like that gunmetal gray raptor was absolutely crazy. And I only wish that I was able to experience this whole display maybe before the LEGO Movie 2 came out, because before that, it was just the LEGO Movie experience, which means that you would have seen a fully built Bricksburg city in here, which of course has since been reduced to rubble and turned into Apocalypseburg, which was still cool in its own right, but also I just really wish that they had the city there somewhere, because that would have been super cool to see. Still, getting a chance to witness this was one of the most important things I wanted to see at Legoland, and the thing is, it's not really that well documented online, so I tried to take as many photos and videos as I possibly could so I could share the experience with all of you. The rest of the LEGO Movie world was fine. We rode the LEGO Movie ride in Billund, Denmark at Legoland Denmark, so there wasn't really a need to do it again. But you know what ride we did have to do? Well, that was the LEGO Ninjago ride.
Well, yesterday at Disneyland, we did the Buzz Lightyear shoot 'em up ride, and now we're in Ninjago.
Hey, Jonathan, how did our scores compare on that ride?
Why am I even filming right now?
Let it be known that I beat Chris at the Ninjago game.
Let it be known the Ninjago ride does not work.
That's what they all say. That's it.
I'm a sore loser, I'm a sore winner because I always win. If I don't win, it's rigged. That's all I can say. It's so sad to see the state of the park. It's rigged.
So this is what it feels like to be a winner at Ninjago. Chris was destroyed when it came to the points on the Ninjago ride, but, you know.
I call him Sleepy Sensei Woo. He rigged the game. I say, Woo, I'm always drinking tea. Something's wrong with that guy, I'm saying. Obviously, as you can see, Sleepy Sensei Woo rigged the game. There's nothing I could do. I sat down in my vehicle, and I moved my hands, but nothing was moving. The scoreboard was not moving. I shifted over to the other seat, still nothing. Meanwhile, Johnathan is just waving his arms around, flailing them about, and points are racking up willy-nilly. So let me just say the Ninjago gods were against me today, but I will return and I will defeat him one day, and no, I will not be posting my score because it was embarrassing because the ride didn't work, and the points only started tallying about 70% of the way through the game, where if you actually do the math, I would have easily destroyed Johnathan. Of course. But of course, after an amazing day at the Master Model Builder shop, also big shout out to PJ, the Master Model Builder himself, we got a chance to get our driving licenses at the Legoland California Driving School. I hung out with a man that many call a contemporary of mine, Mr. Gold, of course, and we even got to explore the Lego factory where you could see an old sculpture from Lego Universe back in the day. That was wild to see. some old Lego molds, a ton of other random miscellaneous vintage items on display, and yes, for whatever reason, they did actually have some Lego Bionicle references on the walls. I'm pretty sure that they just put those up in 2005 and just completely forgot they were there. But we have some Visorak climbing on the walls. We've got the gigantic Lekon How from the Tower of Toa, so that was super cool to see, or the Battle for Metru Nui set. So very, very cool to see some Bionicle references, and of course, like with every single Legoland factory, you got an exclusive brick at the end to commemorate your experience. I love how they're still doing these at pretty much every single Legoland around the world, and you can literally see them being made before your very eyes, which is super cool because it gives you a little bit of a sneak peek as to how Lego's printing process worked. This whole factory era felt like kind of the space where they just tossed discarded models. Like, there was just Laval's head from Legends of Chima. You had a gigantic creator robot from like 2003, another Chima Laval. So clearly they were just taking old models that didn't really have a place in the park anymore and storing them here. There were builds of different shapes and sizes and scales. You got some Mindstorms NXT there. They had a lot of references to older Lego stuff because obviously they just were new at the time, and then after they got refreshed out of the park, they just decided to place them here. One thing I thought was really cool is they even had a section with some maps of different Legoland parks, and of course there was a Lego duck there as well, because of course there has to be. The next stop was the Adventurers Club, and I have a lot of fond memories of this because I grew up going to Legoland, California, and going to the Adventurers Club, which is basically an entire walk-in experience themed around Johnny Thunder and the Adventures, where you have to find specific keys and travel through different areas. Unfortunately, at this point, I had to go and take a few different work calls, so Johnathan was left to his own devices to explore Legoland, California, and it looks like he had a ton of fun, even encountering me. Oh, I guess I didn't have to leave after all. After finding some ducks wandering around the parks, Johnathan got a chance to explore all the different rides, including the Deep Sea Adventure, visit Castle Land. Hold up, is that Basil the Batlord? Yo, that's crazy. As well as just see a ton of really fun and interesting stuff for sale, and even swing by the Bionicle ride, which I absolutely would be going on the next day. Before we knew it though, it was time to get ready for the grand opening. This was after the park closed down. They invited exclusive members of the press to go and visit the grand opening of Dino Valley, which was the whole reason as to why we were invited there in the first place. So we're here on the green carpet right now for the opening of Dino Valley in California. Are you excited?
I'm as excited as those people are, so let's check it out.
Let's do it. This was the green carpet to Dino Valley, the brand new land opening at Legoland, California, first of its kind, an entire world themed around dinosaurs. And while it was sad to see some old classics like the Storytale Brook go, it was really cool to see the park filled with tons of new models, and I made sure to bring copies of every single Lego dinosaur ever made to the park to celebrate the opening. Sadly, upon getting there, I realized that nothing licensed could actually be shown at the park, so, we made do with what I brought, but it was still really cool to line up all of the non-licensed Lego dinosaurs and take photos of them all around the park. I brought my Mosasaurus alongside the actual water ride for dinosaurs, so that was a ton of fun to see, and overall, we basically got to ride every single ride early, a day before Dino Valley actually opened to the public, which was a ton of fun. And I even got a chance to showcase some of the Dino Attack dinosaurs because I felt like they kind of fit some of the dinos we were seeing alongside the ride, being super colorful and really out there in terms of designs. These were featuring all new models built by master model builders to really integrate that dinosaur theme, and of course it was very good to see a duck-themed minifigure there as well. Always good to see some duck representation. I always like to see myself represented. And of course, we saw a gigantic T-Rex popping up, a huge Spinosaurus that was completely multicolored, and it was really cool just seeing how creative these models got. They definitely weren't aiming to make realistic dinosaurs, but instead dinosaurs that could be enjoyed by kids. And of course, kids were coming over enjoying the dinosaurs I had laid out on the green carpet for the great Dino Valley photo shoot, showcasing all of the non-licensed Lego dinosaurs all together in one place. Of course, I will be putting out a video showcasing every single Lego dinosaur ever made. That video has actually been a little delayed because obviously I was waiting for the August 1st releases here in the US to get the brand new ones, but stay tuned because that is coming, and it was really cool getting a chance to meet a ton of the Legoland employees, talk to them about the new land and what they were doing, see folks' crazy badges, and of course interact with a ton of kids who were just absolutely loving the land. This was an exclusive press event, but they did have a ton of people here because they invited a lot of people from around the LA and California community, so it was really awesome just getting a chance to meet people and of course ride the roller coaster with some of our new friends over at Legoland. All the folks running the social media for Legoland, y'all were so awesome, and I'm very glad we got to do this. Of course, it isn't a night at Legoland without an attempt at winning some prizes, and so we decided to set our eyes towards one of the most interesting prize machines, and basically I just had to step up to the bat and see if I could do it, but the goal of the game was basically to use these weighed sacks to knock over 3 boxes in one hit. And if I did that, we would get some mystery prize. And, I'm thinking I'm a pretty athletic guy. I try to go swimming every other day. And I was like, I think I have enough arm strength to do this. So Johnathan stepped up, completely whiffed, disappointing, so sad. But let's see my attempt right now.
So go ahead. You guys want to go?
Oh yeah, let's go.
So how this one works, so here you're going to walk away with something today because it's a very special day today. So basically you got to knock down all 3 blocks right here. All right. If you can do that, all 3 blocks, I'll hook you up with one of these Lego mystery boxes. But you got to knock all 3 blocks off at one time.
All right, let's see.
I'll give you a pop badge right there.
Thank you.
So here we go. Here's 3 tries per person. There you go. Whatever you want. Oh, let me stack this up.
No worry. Okay, let's do it.
Go ahead. Here we go. Not bad. Here we go. Let's make sure we stand up. Next tower right there. Next tower right there. Not bad.
All right, that's fine.
Here we go right there. Money ball. Here we go.
Yeah, on second thought, maybe I shouldn't have posted that footage. That's embarrassing, I lost. Anyways, after going around Dino Valley and experiencing all the new rides, we also got a chance to see some Bionicle references in the 25-year anniversary Legoland cake, which was very, very cool. But before we knew it, it was time to call it a day at Legoland for now.
All right, that's it for the press party tonight for Dino Valley. One word, Chris, how would you rank it?
Roarsome.
Roarsome. Is that a word?
That's what they've been saying in the marketing. Hey, I'm doing my bit. I'm doing my job.
I like it. I'm going to go with awesome. It was great. We had so much fun. It was a great time. Thanks to Legoland for having us. We're taking the night off, and we'll be back tomorrow for the official grand opening, so stick with us.
The next day, we gathered bright and early for the official grand opening of Dino Valley, the new land at Legoland, California, which of course was set to open at noon. Beforehand, we got a little special press event with some nice little breakfast items, which was a ton of fun, and what was really exciting to me is that we actually received some exclusive Dino Valley hats in the same style as the classic Johnny Thunder Adventures Dr. Kilroy pith hat, which was really cool because obviously it was kind of harkening back to an older Lego theme that's still tying into what's modern and fresh. They had a full-on Dino band, all playing different instruments, the energy was up, the public was ready to go, and it was just really cool being a part of the action and seeing their opening ceremony for Dino Valley. I've never actually been at the grand opening of a brand new land at Legoland before, so this was an entirely new experience for me, and it was really cool just being able to mingle with the crowd, be a part of the press, but also just see just how many people had gathered in one place to celebrate the opening of the new park. Let's see some snippets of that right now.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hello, and thank you for coming out on this beautiful morning at Legoland California Resort for the grand opening of our new land, Dino Valley. I am so excited that you are all here, explorers. You look amazing. And without further ado, let's get this started. Please allow me to introduce our president, Kurt Stocks.
Good morning. How's everyone doing? Good. You kids look fantastic. Ready to go. But what I know you're all here for today is the grand opening of Dino Valley. Yeah, exactly. 3 rides and an interactive build and play experience, something that we're really proud of here at Legoland California Resort. Let me introduce our lead operator for Dino Valley, Van.
Hello. Thank you for that introduction, Kurt. Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing out there? Oh, we love to hear that. My name is Dino Valley operator Van, who's excited to see our brand new Dino Valley. Oh, friends, we do not cheer here. We roar. Let me hear your biggest, loudest Dino roar. Lego T-Rex guy.
Excuse me. Susan, nice to see you. Power! Just kidding. Power Dino me. Skittle. Power Dino. I'm almost there. Only about 232 T-Rex arms lengths away.
Sit there. It's good to see you, friend.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So exciting! We are so proud to announce that Dino Valley is officially open here at
I gotta say, that was probably one of the most elaborate opening ceremonies that I've ever seen for almost anything LEGO related. Like, they put so much effort into making that incredibly bombastic, so that was so awesome being able to go into Dino Valley and see so many excited kids running in for the very first time. Of course, we had to ride some of the rides just one more time, and it was really cool getting a chance to meet fans and say hello to people, and of course, talk to kids as well and talk to them about their love for dinosaurs and Lego. But that wasn't the only thing that we did at the park, because of course that day I had to ask if we could go back to the Master Model Builder workshop. You know, I had such a crazy experience the day before, I just could not wait to get back in there, and so after exploring around Dino Valley for a few minutes, we decided to check out the rest of the park and head on back to the Master Model Builder workshop. Of course, you can check out all that footage in the Master Model Builder Workshop video, and after that was done, well, we went back to Dinoland, met a few more people, and then decided to take the rest of the day to just chill at Legoland and basically experience all the other stuff that I didn't get to do the day before because I was working and in meetings. And so, we met up with some friends, some former Master Model Builders as well, and decided to go around the entire park, running into fans and folks all along the way who were there to celebrate the opening of Dino Valley. And of course, I even got to autograph a little Lego set as well, which was very cute. I'm very glad that somebody came up and had a Lego manual for me to sign, so thanks so much. Obviously, a trip to Legoland is not complete without a trip to the Big Shop. This is one of the largest Lego stores in really the entire state because their selection has basically every Lego set currently available, plus a ton more merchandising opportunities, and even some Legoland exclusive sets like the Splash Battle, which they just launched, I think, earlier this year. For me, going through the Big Shop is a really fun way to see what kinds of displays they had there. You never really know what exactly you're going to see because they had it chock full of displays from all different eras of Lego, and of course, it was really cool just checking out all the different sets on shelves and doing a little bit of shopping ourselves. You'll see a little sneak peek of just some of the items that we were able to pick up at Legoland at the end of this video in the haul, but the shop wasn't everything, and I knew that there was one specific thing that I absolutely could not miss, and that was, of course, the Lego Bionicle Ride. You see, the Bionicle Ride has somehow still managed to just escape not being rethemed for years and years and years since the park opened. I guess they just figured it would cost too much money to change the theme of the Bionicle Ride, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Legoland California is actually one of the only Legolands in the world to still feature a Bionicle Ride. The other one is Legoland Germany, which I have covered at length in many videos on this channel, and I'm sure there will be many more. But I had to check it out because it had literally been years since I'd seen the Bionicle Ride, and I had to see what else had changed.
Please do not climb on Toa.
They put that up yesterday just for you.
Oh yeah. Dude, this is wild. We got Lila Nuva and Gali Nuva over there as well. Insanity.
Seeing these gigantic Bionicle sculptures was crazy, and now I kind of want Legoland to rebrand the ride because then I want to take one of these bad boys home. But you know what? They are there so everybody can enjoy them and kids can learn about the legend of the Bionicle, so I'll accept it. But it was very cool actually seeing still a little bit of Bionicle love being showcased at Legoland. Kind of a time long foregone, but still very nice to see. The only thing that would have made it a bit better is if the statues were actually built out of Lego rather than just standard plastic statues, but it was really cool to see just giant Toa Nuva running around. Of course, one of the other big highlights is Miniland, and I really did want to see a lot of Miniland, and so we spent a ton of time walking around with a buddy of ours who actually designed many of the Miniland buildings when he worked at Lego originally, which was very cool. This was probably my favorite section there because they had references to all sorts of different Lego Easter eggs. You had a Ninjago reference, Alien Conquest, the Lego Movie, all sorts of different actual CMFs represented too, and even Bionicle references with Mata Nui getaways. I want to find out who built that because that is amazing and it's actually really well done too. You can see Paradisa, Drome, Octan, just all sorts of really cool Lego references scattered around Miniland, and you can tell that the people who really put these together are big Lego fans. Rock Raiders, Stoneworks, just so cool. And I just really appreciated seeing a lot of love for actual Lego concepts like the Vita Rush logo from Lego City. Just really interesting seeing all sorts of just random obscure Lego items, and I think it's really cool because obviously the Master Model Builders, the Brick Bank's there too, the modular building, but Master Model Builders basically get full jurisdiction over what they want to create in Miniland. Sure, there are some restrictions here and there, but if you want to factor in an old Lego theme reference, you can totally do that. So they kind of went crazy and just decided to just put in whatever they wanted in terms of the references, which I really appreciate. It was also really cool seeing the Gaslamp Quarter because obviously I didn't know it then, but I was spending a lot of time there for San Diego Comic-Con, and stay tuned for my video on that because that is a completely separate trip than this and another crazy experience. But of course, I just wanted to showcase a little bit of Miniland. It's always a good time just exploring the Miniland area and seeing what it has to offer, seeing the working trains and monorails. So cool to see the moving functions like that, and just the level of artistry that it takes to put Miniland together is just really impressive to me, and I have a lot of respect for the Master Model Builders who basically just sit down and it's in their entire job to figure out how to make this work. That Blacktron ride reference too, oh, so perfect. After Miniland, though, there was still a lot to see and do around Legoland. And that's when we were introduced to the infamous Legoland apple fries. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but if you've been to a Legoland, you probably have some sort of an inkling as to what this is. And honestly, I'm not that big of a sweets guy, so most of the appeal to apple fries was lost on me. But Johnathan seemed to really love it, so let's hear from him.
All right, so rumor has it that the apple fries are the way to go. So everybody knows the rules, one bite, here we go.
Thank you.
Wow. Fried apples, come on, that's great.
Legoland exclusive.
Chris, you're speechless?
It's interesting.
Well, the thing is, even though they're fried, they're apples, so they're healthy.
Of course. You can see I was literally speechless by the sheer quality of what I was experiencing. Jesse, we need to cook. But overall, it was a really, really fun time, and I really enjoyed getting a chance to go around Miniland with someone who actually worked on building models there, which is super cool. Shout out right here. So that was awesome. And of course, we wanted to check out the rest of Legoland too. They still had the gigantic Chima Mount Kavora floating over the Chima themed water park, which is still a thing, which is crazy that they haven't rebranded it from Chima yet. I could have told them it was a bad idea to stick to that theme for that land, but it was very cool because I think Legoland California might be the only Legoland in the world with a dedicated Chima land for the water park. Sadly, that was separate admission, and I wasn't looking to get super wet that day, so we didn't go to the water park, but seeing it from a distance was admittedly very cool, and there were all sorts of really cool other experiences as well, including a Ferrari experience where, of course, if you've seen me in some of my videos, I do like Ferrari. I have a Ferrari jacket and shoes, so it only made sense that I'd pose next to the Ferrari Lego car, and actually I think the shoes were on right there, so that was actually perfect theming. And there was actually, my favorite part of this experience was seeing a history of Lego Ferrari cars from 04 to 08 to 2015 to 2020 to 2021 and 2022. I think that needs a little bit of updating nowadays, but it was really cool to see just a sneak peek at that. And they even had a Lego space experience as well, which I really appreciated, showcasing some of the older space sets actually. Kind of a surprise to not see some of the newer ones there, but maybe they've since refreshed it. But yeah, Space Room, and it was the 25th anniversary of Legoland California, which is wild to think that this park is technically a year older than me, so I guess they opened up in 1999. Very, very fun to see so many references to different parts of the park on the big, gigantic cake celebrating it at the entrance. Now, altogether, this was one of the most entertaining and one of the most fun trips, especially Lego-related trips, I've taken in a long time. We, of course, had to do some final shopping where at a random gift shop, we encountered a rare GWP Lego store set just being randomly sold on shelves. But overall, this was a ton of fun. I made so many memories on the trip, and I think that's the perfect time to close out this video with a really, really great experience that we all shared.
And with that, the day's coming to a close. We've got a flight to catch, and what an amazing day it's been at Legoland California. Thank you so much for showing us around, showing us apple fries. I mean, come on, it doesn't get much better. Pleasure. So, it's time for the haul, time to get home, and
let's do it.
Of course, we had to make one final stop.
With one last stop at a classic California In-N-Out Burgers, can't go to Cali without it, our trip had sadly come to an end, and I actually had to fly directly to Portland, Oregon for Bricks Cascade Lego Convention, so this was one Lego trip after another. I just gotta say thank you so much to Legoland California for giving us such a great experience, and thanks for my buddy Johnathan for coming along with me for the ride. Definitely wouldn't have anybody else with me than Johnathan experiencing this Lego craziness, and if you can tell from the title of the video or the thumbnail, this is Lego Bros on Tour, Part 1. This was actually the very first trip I took with Johnathan, and absolutely not the last. So stay tuned because there's so much more coming from us in the future. So this is my haul from California, and while it might not necessarily be a larger haul in terms of volume, this represented a really important milestone in my collection because this was actually the first time that I obtained fully sealed San Diego Comic-Con Lego sets. These are sets that were exclusive to previous Comic-Cons, and I always had wanted to collect them, but since they don't really feature any exclusive minifigures and you can just recreate the builds, I wasn't necessarily super incentivized to get any until I saw these beautiful boxes. Now, I don't collect packaging, but I gotta say, these boxes are really, really nice, and I figured, you know what the heck, why not actually start a collection of all of these boxes? And since then, I have managed to get quite a lot more, and I'm actually on my way to completing the full collection. In addition to these though, I got a chance to pick up just some sets that I didn't get a chance to get in the past here and there, or sets that I had just taken apart. For instance, the S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier Hulk Breakout set was a set that I honestly wasn't that big of a fan of when it came out. I thought it was very silly that the Hulk containment cage did not even fit the Hulk itself. So when I did buy the set in 2012, I literally sold the build like on Reddit or Bricklink or something and only kept the figures. But now that I'm a less discerning collector, my thoughts on these sets are still the same, but I do want to actually own the builds of all the Marvel sets, so I had to pick this one up as well just to actually have the final build, and I'll just go ahead and sell the minifigures or maybe just give them to Johnathan because I really have no need for the duplicate figs. I also got another copy of the Ninjago City Chase set from the Ninjago movie, mostly because I wanted to integrate these really nice sticker elements and the string lights and even the food stand into a future mock that I'm making of a larger scale Ninjago City. I also purchased it because my copy of the policeman is missing his helmet. Sadly, I did not realize until after purchasing that this copy was also missing the helmet, so I am still helmetless 2 for 2. The other really interesting thing that I was able to get here was the exclusive Dino Valley sort of knapsack here, or kind of like a shoulder bag. This is actually something that I believe was only available during that press event, so it's actually one of the rare items in my collection. Not really sure how I'm going to display it, but it is still really cool to be able to get an exclusive Legoland item. Lastly, I got a ton of bulk Bionicle, and Toa Wenua was actually included in that bulk lot. It doesn't have all the pieces, but it does have that torso, and I definitely need that torso for my own builds, so that was a good pickup. I also thought it was cool to get the canister. The rest of the bulk Bionicle pieces have already been sorted into my collection, so I don't have them on camera here, but it was actually quite a lot. It was a ton of G2 stuff, just bags and bags and bags full of Bionicle. And finally, Johnathan gifted me a ton of extra pieces. These are actually based off of the mock that somebody has built to recreate the canceled Lego Indiana Jones temple set, the Temple of Doom. So I figured, you know what, I happily will take these pieces, go through the inventory, and just figure out what else I need to buy. So huge thank you to Johnathan for gifting me this. This is going to be a great head start to actually being able to build the canceled set, or at least someone's mock recreation of it. But without further ado, let's actually jump in and take a closer look at the Comic-Con sets. So these are just 3 of the Comic-Con sets I was able to pick up, and back when they were doing these micro-scale little sets as well as these little dioramas, they came in these very interesting square-shaped boxes. They actually were numbered as well, so you could see number 1413 on the side here. This one was super cool because it featured Ultron as well as a couple of different Ultron warriors. The Ultron minifig itself is actually quite rare, and so what I wanted to do with this, I wonder if I can just like peel the sticker off. I'm of the strong belief that Lego sets are made to be opened, and sets are basically meant to be unboxed. So I'm just gonna go ahead and chop here, cut this guy open like so, and now we can go ahead and open this up, see what's inside. This is super cool because it's a bit of an interesting style of packaging than a lot of other sets. You have just a standard instruction manual here, but you've got some nice San Diego Comic-Con printing on the manual, and here this actually like is prepared by a certain person, so all these sets are basically just parts picked manually, I believe, and then they go through a very special type of production run. So all the parts are just kind of in this little bag. It's not even fully sealed, it's just sealed with a sticker here. So that's super cool to get. I'm gonna do the same thing and open up all these other ones, and yeah, let me just go ahead and get all these open, and we can dive into my review of a short review of all 3 of these sets to showcase them on this video. So I'm gonna cut away and let's jump over to it. So here's the 3 Comic-Con sets that I got fully built. I gotta say my favorite is definitely the Throne of Ultron. It is Justin Ramsden's first set as a Lego designer, and he absolutely cooked. I just love the amount of detail factored into this little mini model, and especially the way the throne is built. You can see they're using like old flintlock revolver pieces to form the curvature of the sides of the chair. You have all sorts of really cool details and even places to pose all of the drones that fly around him. It's just such a cool display piece, and definitely my favorite of the bunch. It might be one of my favorite Comic-Con sets ever, honestly. Maybe it is my favorite. I don't know. I'll have to go back on the list and take a look, but it's super solid. The center one is honestly not super interesting in terms of what it is, but the build of it is quite strange. It's Aquaman and his seahorse Storm, and you can see this is referencing the original Super Friends cartoon on the back here, so you can see that actual still from the cartoon, as well as a note that says it was premiering from 1967 to 1970. So this is clearly based off of the DC superheroes cartoons, which is super interesting to see a Lego set actually based off of these. And it technically does have an exclusive Aquaman minifigure, although it is just the regular Aquaman figure with Draco Malfoy's hair, so anybody can recreate this if you have the pieces. But it is pretty cool. You get the Seahorse Storm, you have an octopus showing up, and it's actually pretty rare for this style of octopus to appear. I'm pretty sure the mold is now destroyed, so this might have been one of the last times we ever got this in a Lego set. And you even have a brick-built manta ray, which is actually super similar to some builds they did for Lego Atlantis. There's also a little hidden surprise inside this rock. There's just a bit of a golden crystal on the inside that's hidden away. It's a nice little touch and just makes for an interesting build for a Comic-Con set. And the final one here is based around The Hobbit, and this was coinciding with The Unexpected Journey. It's a really cute micro-scale bag end, which is the smallest one out of the bunch. It is probably the least interesting too, honestly, but it is really cool because it is themed around The Hobbit, and this is just such an iconic location, so I do like that they did depict it as a micro build. But definitely the coolest one for me is easily the Ultron set. This one is just so cool how they were able to depict it, and it is always very interesting to see Lego cover different material like the Aquaman and Storm in a very non-traditional Lego set. Like, this is more of a display set rather than a play set. So overall, very interesting builds, and definitely encouraged me to get a lot more, because now I am in the process of really trying to stock up on as many of these sets as I can. I am, again, almost there to completion. I have so many more just in my basement right now, so I'm excited to be able to go through these, and maybe one of these days, I'll be able to do a video showcasing every single one. Alright, and that sums up LEGO Bros on Tour Part 1, California, with many more adventures to come. Hopefully you enjoyed this vlog-style video, and let me know what else you want to see from us in the future. Thanks so much for tuning in, and be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Bye for now.